Okay, so you were listening to Things of Gold by Snarky Puppy with Cory Henry on the solo. So what I want to do today, and before I get started in today's lesson, I have a bundle of MIDI files. If you have not checked it out, go ahead and go to my website. Also look at the link on the top of the screen, and I have some MIDI files that you can grab, and it's just a massive. It's all my MIDI files, and I actually threw in some new ones in there that I've also made available for free. So go ahead and pick those up. It's a big, massive bundle, and go ahead and enter your email, and we'll send them to you on your email. Now, today's lesson, I'm going to do an ear training lesson. So it's not a vocab lesson, okay, and it's not a creativity lesson. It's an ear training, so we need to develop our ear. Go ahead and get by your keyboard. Make sure you have some decent speakers, because I'm going to be focused more on ear training today, not so much theory. I'm really trying to help develop our ears and what we hear. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the song, and I'm going to just tell you how I hear things. Okay, that's a very difficult thing to do for a transcriber, because generally we just do it. We don't really think about it. But I'm going to do my best to try to let you peek into my brain and how I hear things. And before I start, let me just prep the lesson by saying, initially, last year when I was transcribing, I kind of separated things into four chords: major, minor, diminished, and augmented, and those are the ones that I was able to hear. But now I don't do it that way. I have found a better method for what I'm doing, and that is major chords, minor chords, dominant chords, and all of their substitutions. Okay, and that goes for major and minor too. And then the other category, meaning it's not major, it's not minor, it's not dominant. It's just an other, so that can be diminished chords, so sus2, sus4, suspended chords, okay, things like that. And it also includes the augmented, any chord that's not in one of those three, okay. And I find that if I can narrow down to one of those categories, then it helps me to isolate the chord better. It also helps in terms of teaching and in terms of learning a song, because so long as you get the basic quality right, you don't even have to play something with the exact same voicing, so long as you know the main category that the chord is in. All right, so let's go through this. Let's get our ears ready, and let's go from the top. Testing one. Now it's very helpful to know the basic form of the song, So they go to a minor, then they go to a B flat major 7 or major 9, and then they go to a F major 9, then a G major 9, and then a D major 9. Real nice chords, but that's the whole song. So they have a B, okay, they have a B minor, and then all majors from there. And the song kind of follows that same pattern. So it's really nice, because that's a good way for you to, if you're trying to develop some chords, just do that in every key, And then go to the C, and then the F major 9, G major 9, and then A major 9. Okay, I did the 13, but I could have just done it as a major 9. And then the E major 9. Okay, so anyway, so that's the chordal structure of it. Now he goes into the part that I want to focus on hearing is the part where he goes through his improv. So let me fast forward here. Okay, so here he changes to the key of E, right? So he's in E now. Okay, now he's going to his solo now. You hear the bass note. The bass note, listen to the bass note will help you to transcribe, will help you to hear chords better. Right there, where there's no chord, there is a, that's what is implied. And the reason why that is implied is the C6-9 here. The reason why that is implied is because of the pattern that he goes to. Okay, I want you to listen to it. Then he's gonna go. Then he goes up. See, so he keeps going, and then he repeats that same pattern as the song goes on. See, going back to the C again, then back to the C sharp, then back to the C. So that's the reason why I said right there when he starts, right, he doesn't, the motif hasn't necessarily been developed yet because he doesn't start it, but it's there, right? Because you can hear him going back and forth. So that's why I started in that way. Now, how am I going to hear those notes? Well, I'm just going to sing along with that. So you hear that? So I'm hearing that that you hear. That's what transcribing is, just finding out those notes. And I want to repeat this. I do not have perfect pitch. I do not have perfect pitch. That is not how I'm transcribing these. Okay? I'm actually awful at perfect pitch. So I have to be able to hear the quality of the chord. So when I'm hearing then I know that that's a dominant function. I know that that's the category of the four that I mentioned, right? And because I know he started here and I know he was going up half steps, then I would assume that would be a C sharp dominant, okay? Which would be, all right, listen to that. See, okay, so the you heard that? That's a fourth apart, so I'm hearing that, but I'm hearing him start in the C, so I'm gonna call it a C6-9. So, okay. So I'm gonna have him going from here, the dominant, back to a C6-9 here. Okay, and I'm gonna have him just going back and forth from those, and let's see how that works. Okay, so are you hearing that? And so to be able to hear those, and what you want to do is you want to commit the intervals to memory, to your ear memory, so that when you hear these, that you recognize that as a excuse me, that you recognize that as a dominant chord. Do not attempt, remember last week's video, very important video, be at the, if you want to grow, you have to be at the level that you're at. And if you can't hear dominant functions, you shouldn't be trying to hear C sharps like sharp 9, C sharp 7, sharp 9, right? If you're not even able to hear the dominant chord. So it starts from you hearing those four categories first, and then you hear their substitutions. So just being able to hear this in every key, dominant chord, E flat dominant, E dominant, F dominant, right? I'm able to hear those qualities before I'm able to hear their extensions. So you want to make sure, and those of you who are my premium members, we're going to get you, because I don't have a lot on the site right now for ear training, and we're going to be adding, starting today, we're going to be adding some ways for you to recognize just these basic four categories. But let's go ahead and continue with the lesson here. So we already said that's a C sharp dominant. Oh, did you hear that one? What would you say that chord is right there? He changed it. Okay, so it sounds like he went up. But what's the chord? What's the quality? Is it major? Is it minor? Is it a dominant chord, or is it the neither? Is it in the other category? Here it is. Okay. Okay, so let me hear that again. So I'm hearing, right? You're hearing that, but that D is at the bottom. So see, that's in the sus category there. Okay, so we have first one. We have that C sharp dominant chord. Then we have the C6-9. Then we have the C sharp dominant again. And then we have a D sus9. Okay? Or a D9, I mean sus4. Okay? So what chord is that? You should recognize that as the diminished function. Right? And if we were to keep going with that pattern, that would be the chord. Let's hear that again. See? Yeah, I guess you can say that would be the dominant too. So that could be D dominant. But again, I'm not so much focused on theory. Those of you who are talking about my theory here, when I'm listening, theory has nothing to do with that, right? I have to put it in the category of what my ear hears and how I transcribe these. And so in that particular voicing, I heard a dominant. I heard a diminished voicing. I heard this. Then I heard the bass underneath it. That's what my ear heard. Now I know that this is a D dominant chord, but I'm telling you what my ear heard. I heard the diminished, the F sharp diminished. All right. So that's how I figured it out. Oh, look at that one. So I'm hearing a tritone there. Okay, and then let me hear what else is going on. So that's kind of what I'm hearing there. But I'm hearing that repeating tritone concept. That's kind of what I'm hearing. I'm hearing the tritone in it, and then I'm hearing the extra notes. So if you, again, I'm trying to explain what I'm hearing. I mean, you're hearing that, right? And then maybe the E there obviously changes this, to a diminished chord, but I'm hearing the tritone here. Yeah, so nope. So so if I'm focusing on quality, I'm all messed up. E7 13 over G, what in the world? I can't hear that. I just hear tritones. I hear tritones, and I know that they did the next note after it. So because I can hear the interval of a half step after the C sharp. So I'm hearing the tritone. Yeah. So it's not the E, it's a half step up. So it's the tritone, half step, tritone, half step. Yeah. So that's actually probably the voicing that's going on there. But do you kind of see how This is my transcription process. This is how I figure out the chords here. I'm listening for intervals here. I'm not listening for no fancy complicated stuff. So da 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 da, right? So that's gonna be a G. Sounds like a G minor. That's gonna be in the minor category. Let's hear that again. Yeah, so now see the G minor 9. Noticed how it's almost as if it may seem like this is using perfect pitch again, but it's not, because I'm trying to. I know that when I'm practicing, I know what a G major sounds like. I know what a G minor sounds like, and then I know what a G dominant sounds like. So the minor was this, and so I heard that quality chord. You hear it now? So I want to hear that minor, and I want to hear the difference between and this. Major, minor, major, minor, dominant. Train your ear to hear the differences between those major categories, not between the extensions and all the fancy stuff. The major category, you want to simplify things, right? Now that one's kind of hard. Da, 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 da. So that would be a. So that so I'm hearing the dominant category here, and in this time I'm hearing the so I'm hearing the minor seventh interval. Then after that I'm hearing the tritone interval, and then after that I'm hearing a major third, which translates theory-wise to an F sharp dominant sharp 5, right? So here it is. Okay, so it's a dominant chord. So you heard that one? What is that? So this one is very close to a dominant, because in a dominant chord it would be this. But in a sus, if it doesn't, the reason why I have the 4 categories, in the other section, what I've done is any chord that doesn't have the strong third. Sean, what are you talking about? Well, and it's hard to describe, so just kind of stay with me here. I know that for the major it's this, so I know that the third is there. So if I hear that third, I can really, it helps me out a lot. If I hear the third go here, it helps me because the third is present. So the presence of that third helps me to determine that that's a minor function. The presence of the third here tells me that it's a dominant function. It helps me, the presence of the third. If the third is neither major, as it is in the major and the dominant, or minor, I put it in the other section. This is the reason why I've put the other chords where I've placed them, because in Cory's chord just now, so are you hearing that? So I have to put that in the section that is neither major or minor or dominant, because it's lacking the strong third that my ear is used to hearing. So I'm having to put it. That's what I'm hearing, right? Someone's gonna say, but that's not what he played. It doesn't matter what he played. It matters the quality that I'm hearing. I can get the individual notes later. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the quality that I'm hearing. The quality that I'm hearing. So, and he probably did. Right, that's why I said, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. That can be fixed later. So long as I get the quality right. Everything else is going to be a piece of cake. To actually play it with him is not as hard as trying to find out the quality first. Okay? Right? So it's, see, because nothing changed except the third, which went down to the dominant function. So now this is going to be a B7 dominant, right? And I heard that, and I know that is a run that you would use to get to the dominant. So I'm recognizing that is a progression that's used to get to that. Okay. So that what is that? That's a perfect fifth. And then okay. So what are those notes? What are those notes? So do you recognize it going here and here? Right? Okay, so that's going to be what? An E minor. But it's actually going to be using the 9, right? So it's going to be an E minor 9? Or add 2. Right, because it lacks the D. Okay. What I'm saying is, an E minor 9 would have to have a D. Without the D, we just say it's an add 2. So let's see that again. Okay, so it's walking it down. So the only thing my ear needs to know, if you are trying to figure this out by ear, is that he's going from this. And then he's walking it down. I'm just gonna keep it the same for now. I can. Then he went here. Okay. So that's what I'm hearing in the bass. All right. So it looks like we have an E, and then we're gonna go from here to and you see I'm just keeping the quality right now, not so much concerned with the actual chord again, but the quality. So here I'm really just keeping that E minor on top but having a D bass. And then I'm really wanting to call this a sus. I'm really wanting to call this a kind of a sus, but I really would prefer calling it a rootless A2 with a C sharp bottom. And the reason I'm calling it that is because A2 without that, with a C sharp. The reason I'm calling it that is because that helps me to know what he's doing with his right hand if I see it as an A as opposed to a C sharp 7. Because see, if you listen to the See, so he's doing a major runs and movements in the right hand. So if I see this, if I instead call this a C minor 7, which some theorists would want to call it, it misses the actual quality of what is going on. So this is the reason why I said, let's call it an A add 2. And because in the A add 2, the third note is the C sharp, we put that on the bottom. Or we could double it up. But that's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing an A major chord. An A major chord. Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. See, because I'm because of that note. Because of that note. I'm hearing that A there. So that A now is defining the A. I thought the root was supposed to be in the bottom. Well, rethink. Rethink yourself then. Because he's playing an A. So I'm seeing it as a function of that his chords now are going to fit with what the melody line is needing. Okay? Okay, so now there's a G. And now I need to kind of hear what he did with the left hand there. Okay, so now I'm hearing a C dominant, but I'm hearing him reverse the order of the, because remember, I only hear really 3 chords. But I'm hearing that he didn't do it in this order. I'm hearing that he simply placed the E on the top and played it lower. That's what I'm hearing. Hear it? So that's a C7. All right, so now somebody's gonna say, well, how did you find out? Because you had to play that run that he did. So that's a mixolydian. How would you know, Sean? How would you know what run to play with Cory? Because you obviously had to transcribe the run as well. Well, I use my own chart. I use the chart that I have, which tells me the most likely choice of run, of what run he would be using over this voicing. And then I just kind of play that with him, and until I, do it a couple times until I feel like it's accurate or whatever. Okay, so that's kind of how I do it. Okay, that's something I don't show on the screen simply because I kind of get the what do you call it? Is it the nervous thing? Like you can't, like where I'm not able to, when I'm in that mode. Teaching mode is different, but when I'm in transcription mode, I have to be focused on just that, or else I kind of get distracted for me. See, what did you hear there? So I'm hearing 2 things. I'm hearing, my ear is hearing the an A minor interval. No. Oh, actually, so no, that's wrong. Oh, I see. Okay. So my ear is hearing a E and E sus4. But then I'm also hearing the B 7 sus4. So I'm hearing, so together it would be that. So that would help me out here with that. Okay, So that's the chord for that. So that's so in this one. Okay, so I'm hearing it doing. Remember what he did before? He resolved this 3 down to this. So that's what I'm hearing again. But instead, what I'm hearing is, and not only am I hearing the 3 resolve down to here, but I'm also hearing the bass go from here to there. So it sounds like this. Right? So in some cases I'm focusing on quality of the chord as a whole, and in other cases I'm focusing on where certain notes are going, up or down, and being able to hear those transitions as well. So now I'm hearing so I'm hearing that E. I'm hearing an E sus2 within but I'm hearing, why am I calling it an E sus2 and not calling it from the G sharp? Simply because I'm hearing that he is, my brain is hearing that he's in the key of E right now. So the fact that it starts on this just means that he's dropped that note that would be in the E chord. And I'm almost hearing this as a major sound. I know it should be in the sus2 section, but I'm almost hearing it as a major, and maybe because it is with the added 2 there. Right? Alright, my fingers can't even reach my fingers can't even hit that chord. That's a crazy kind of a difficult chord to hit with one hand. So there I'm hearing a I'm really hearing a diminished there. With a drop. I'm hearing it dropped. I'm hearing a diminished chord that's in the other category here, but I'm hearing this G being dropped down here. So he's going, and then so yeah, these are nice movements. These are real nice. What I'm hearing though, and what's kind of helping me to, and again, I'm just trying to let you inside a little bit of how I think when I'm doing these transcriptions. But this, what he's doing with the right hand is very helpful, because he's holding a C. One time he's walking down on what sounds like an F pentatonic. And another time it sounds like he's walking down a right. And another time it sounds like he's walking with an A flat. He could also walk down with a. He could also do a C, simply because a C is contained with all those pentatonic scales. So stay with me here. A C, the note that he's holding on top, isn't going to work with every single chord. I only have the 4 categories, but then to narrow down those categories, because there's 12 keys, I have to ask myself which of those keys work with a C on the top. Okay, and in my mind, I've got, not on top, but where C will work with, I've got C working with an F pretty good. Because it's the top note of an F major chord. I've got C working with an A flat, because it's the third note of an A flat major chord. I have C working with a C chord, because it's the bottom note of a C major triad. So in reality, the way my mind is thinking is that I only have 3 choices, not 12. I have 3. And if you listen to so all that, did you hear that? That's the F choice that he made. Now he went to an A flat choice. So what note is being held here is the C. I don't want to call it tonicized, because I don't think it's necessarily tonicized. I just think it's the melody that is being held there that needs to work with various things. Now he's changing it. Now I'm hearing the dominant there. If my finger could reach on that G. Alright. Yeah. So I'm hearing dominant there. Which is good because he's holding a B flat. So the top note, you know, I'm really doing this how do we call this, impromptu lesson. I'm kind of realizing what I want to say but the top note is kind of constraining his choices. A lot of you guys say, well, how do they know what notes to do and what things to do? I already told you what to do with the C, but now he went from the C to holding that B flat, so the same rule applies, right? So where does that B flat fit in the general structure of things? And the way he used it just now was as the 5th note of a dominant chord. So that's why I was able to hear that. So see what I'm saying? So it's not so much my ear is so great. I really think it's just me using contextual analysis. See, because that run, that's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. It could be wrong. I honestly don't care if it's wrong. I play it with him. I just play what I think. I just play what my vocabulary would do at that section, right? I would just play what my vocabulary would do at that section. So I don't even use my ear, to be honest with you, on those fast runs. All right, see, so he's keeping that B flat on top again. So, So it sounds like oh, okay, so that just sounds like a C sharp diminished, but that would be kind of hard to figure out, but yeah, because it would be half diminished from the No, it'll be fully diminished. Okay, so no, that works. Yeah, okay, so basically, so what I'm hearing there is okay, so what's going on is that B flat being held on top, um, that first one is that, so the reason why the next transition works so well is because the chord simply keeps really most of these notes. Look at the notes in the dominant chord here. E flat, G, D flat. And then look at how many things are changed. Not much at all, except going up here. One note change. A one note change changes this from a dominant chord to a diminished chord. So he doesn't then have to use, now this may sound like it's a teaching lesson, but it really is not. It's an ear lesson. I'm just telling you, trying to explain to you what I'm hearing here, that I'm hearing that so many things were the same, and you see what I mean. And so I heard the diminished chord, but I was trying to figure out what allowed that to take place. So it's neat because yeah, so that's how he uses it. But I'm kind of amazed at there was only one note change between the last note and this note here. So those are all dominant. So you know, he's going. So he went from the E flat to the diminished, and then so see, he's just using a dominant chord. It's there to get, because you know he wants to get. You know the song is going to end on that E minor sound. So it would make sense that he'd have a B dominant there. So I'm really just using more theory on that, and not my ear. So you have that C diminished over the A over the B dominant, right? It's a diminished voicing. I just heard the intervals. I heard the diminished intervals, right? And then I heard the chord. This chord is a chord that's in my vocab. It's a chord that I use. So again, if it's a chord I use, it's easy for me to hear it because I use it. And that's why I always tell people, you know, in terms of ear training, I really feel it's more about, and again, this is just going to be my approach on it. Other people would be different, but I feel that it's really more about building your own vocabulary. If I know that this is a C chord, right? If I know that this is a C chord, and then I hear somebody go, of course I'm gonna say it's a C. I don't play that. I mean anything that I have perfect pitch. It's a chord I may use in Amazing Grace at the end. So I just hear that chord. You see what I'm saying? So the more my vocabulary is built up, obviously I'm gonna recognize those chords. So if this is a chord that I'm using, then I'm gonna hear that. Okay. So again, focus on building your vocabulary. Focus on those 4 categories and being able to memorize those categories. What I'm going to do with this MIDI file, I am going to, I think what I'll do, because I have not recorded the MIDI file yet. So even though you guys see the notes on the screen first and then you see me teaching, I have not put the notes, I haven't played with the MIDI file as of yet. And hopefully this was helpful for you as far as how I think about things in terms of ear. There is no one right answer. Don't let anybody tell you there's only one right way to do things. Plenty of these guys that have made it in music don't know any theory. Theory is not your prerequisite, okay? And I'm not against theory by any means, but I don't think that's the prerequisite. I think it is helpful to understand, okay? Because I'm just now honestly getting into theory and trying to learn it. But that had nothing to do with how I heard music and how I heard things. So, I really think you should focus on your ear just as much as theory. Focus on building your vocab, and just take your time with things. And we will. I think that's it. So until next time, we'll see you later.